What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Evan, and you know Mo's up to niggas. As you guys can tell, get the Jeep SRT8 behind me. I'm not sure if you guys can see or can tell, we don't have the intake manifold on, and that's because we have an oil leak underneath the intake manifold, and the intake manifold gasket on the lower section of the intake manifold is leaking, so we're getting that fixed. And we're also going to be doing the valve stem seals and all that. So enough of me talking. Let's get to work, baby. What's going on, you guys? So we're here at the engine bay of the SRT8. As you guys can tell, everything's been removed from the airbox, throttle body, intake manifold, all that good stuff's been removed. And as you guys can tell, we also have the ports where the intake manifold sits is obviously covered in paper towel. We don't want anything falling into the valves of the heads. So if we bring the camera in, and hopefully you guys can tell from the light, we have oil in that back section right there on the valve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a vacuum in and just vacuum a little bit of all that oil from from all of these valves. I'm not sure if all of them have oil, but we're going to go ahead and vacuum all the oil out from whatever valve may have a little bit of oil. And we're obviously going to be removing the valve covers and the spark plugs and the coils to do the valve stem seals, because I believe they are leaking. So that's why you see a little bit of oil in the corner sections. So that is going to get addressed. Also the midsection where the paint was flaked off, so I just vacuumed it up with a obviously shop vac, and got all that stuff removed. Cleaned this section here, so we have a nice smooth and flat surface for the gasket to sit and lay on. And that's pretty much it. This shouldn't be hard to do. We're gonna go ahead today. It's a beautiful day. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna actually paint the manifold and get it ready. So let me bring you in the garage and show you what we got. All right, you guys, so we have the fuel injectors. The fuel injectors were pulled off the fuel rail. They were obviously cleaned. I do have the machine there, which I'm going to show you. So these are the old fuel injector seals. We're going to replace them. I do have a top and a bottom seal kit that I got from Rock Auto, so it replaces the old ones with new ones. So we're going to be replacing the top and the bottom on all of them that were cleaned, and I'm going to show you the machine and all that. All right, you guys, so we have the fuel injector cleaner and tester, which is from Auto Tools. I was able to clean all the injectors and obviously check to make sure that they're all flowing at the same rate and they're not showing inconsistency in the flow rate. So everything was done with the machine. So this machine, if you guys can afford one, definitely buy one. It's worth the money. It's a CT160, so it did just phenomenal in cleaning the fuel injectors for the Jeep SRT8. All right, you guys, so we're here in the garage. We have the intake manifolds. Obviously, as you guys can tell, we have small paper towels blocking all the holes, so we could obviously go ahead and spray paint it. Obviously didn't put tape over here and all that, so we're gonna go ahead today and probably get all of this situated so we could get it painted. We're going to probably do a nice coat of dark red so it could match the dark tail lights and whatnot. So I think dark red is going to look nice. We do have the fuel rails over there. Those have been cleaned. The 6.1 liter Hemi coil pack covers, and then we also have the bottom side of the intake manifold, which has to get the new gasket installed. The intake system with the filter and all that good stuff is over there. The catch can, throttle body, all that good stuff is in the garage to make sure I could figure out where everything needs to go. Everything's laid out nice and neat. That's why you see everything on the floor. But the main concern today is obviously getting this painted, put the new intake manifold gasket on the lower portion, start putting the throttle body on and all that good stuff. But we got to obviously let it dry, so we're not going to do too much. We have to let the paint dry. It is a nice day today, but that is basically the overview today. We may need to replace some other stuff. All right, you guys, so now that you got a better idea of what's going on, we need to obviously address the intake manifold. The lower portion of it was leaking, which is right there. The lower portion was leaking. Also, the PVC valve was also leaking. The seal was, I believe, hardened and dried up. And when the seals dry up, they start to leak. So it was leaking, but I did break it when I was removing the intake manifold. I accidentally laid the when I lifted the intake manifold, I rested it against the top portion of the timing cover, and I broke the PVC valve. So I'd ordered a new one, so that's why I need a new PVC valve. I wasn't kind of paying close attention, so I kind of like rested it. I thought I rested the bottom side of the throttle body on the timing cover, but it was obviously the PVC valve, and I heard it snap, and I said, oh crap, I broke something, and then it was obviously the PVC valve. So I should have paid more close attention, but mistakes do happen. So you guys got a better idea. The gaskets for the intake manifold were obviously blown, not blown, but the seal around it were ripped, so oil was obviously leaking past and down into the ports on the heads. So we're gonna have to get the gaskets all addressed for the intake manifold, including the lower portion and the gaskets where the intake manifold sits on. We have to do the valve stem seals. I believe the valve stem seals are leaking. That's why we're seeing oil on the top side of the valve, and that's why when I started it up, you know, it won't do this consistently, but you know, there's some times where I would start the Jeep up and you'll see a light cloud of smoke coming out of the tailpipe, and right away it would go away. So I know that's an indication of the valve stem seals, you know, going bad, or they've gone bad. They probably have hardened up for over time and the seals have dried up. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna change those and then pretty much get everything back on the truck. We're not going to be doing the timing cover seal. In certain areas it's you see wet spots. I'm not going to do this now because you have to take obviously the radiator hoses out, you got to take the water pump out, you got to take the harmonic balancer out, or the lower crank pulley, you got to take the bolt out. So it's a lot more stuff needed to be removed in order to get to the timing cover seal. And while you're in there, you might as well just do the timing, change the timing, the timing chain, do the sprockets and all that good stuff. So I'm not going to do this now because it's a big job and I don't want to leave the truck stuck in the driveway. And now that it's almost mid-December, I don't want it to snow and then I have trouble trying to clean the driveway and whatnot. So we're going to leave that for a later date. This way I could kind of like figure out what I need to order, how I'm gonna, you know, remove everything, you know, have a plan of attack and whatnot. So for right now, we're just going to focus on the intake manifold so we can get the truck back up and running. The timing cover seal is just leaking. It's not leaking, but there's spots or areas along the timing cover where it's wet. So in other words, the seal has gone bad and it's starting to leak. So there's not dripping anywhere. I'm not losing oil. It's not dripping all over the driveway and whatnot. So that's good news. We're just going to right now address the intake manifold and get the truck back up and running. What's going on, you guys? So here's a better look of the throttle body, all painted. The intake manifold with everything connected to it, like the throttle body, the fuel rails, the new oil cap and stuff like that. So it's pretty much ready to go on the car, but we obviously have to do the valve stem seal. So here's like a better close-up view. So we put a little bit of dielectrical grease on the new seals, both top and bottom. I bought the service kit, so it replaces both top and bottom seals on the fuel injectors. New oil cap, because the other oil cap was showing like cracks or like kind of like stress marks on it, so it looked like it was about to crack on top. So replaced it. It was a cheap part anyway, so figured why not replace it. New seal for the throttle body that came in the cylinder head gasket kit for the 300 SRT8. So we have it installed there. We obviously cleaned the throttle body on the inside. We put a little bit of dielectrical grease here, there, and on there, so we could slide the hoses on a lot more easier. And then if we go to the back side, we can see that we have the I guess the map sensor, whatever this is called, on the back of the intake manifold. We have a new seal on there, and then put a little bit of dielectrical grease here. So everything's been torqued down. New seal, or new lower intake manifold gasket seal, or whatever you want to call it, on the bottom side. Everything's been torqued down on the bottom side, painted red. I think it looks good, so pretty much ready for this to go in the car once we finish the valve stem seals. What's going on, you guys? So we have the intake manifold here laying right in front of me. It's obviously the next day, and everything's been obviously bolted down. New lower intake manifold gasket has been installed. New seals, both top and bottom, for the fuel injectors. New seal on the throttle body, and new oil cap. And that's pretty much it. This is pretty much ready to go into the car, but we're not going to, because we need to change the valve stem seals. But I'm probably going to bring the camera in and show you guys a little bit of a better close-up view of how it looks. Other than that, I think this is pretty much done, and we're just ready to work on the valve stem seals. Alright, you guys, so we have everything taken apart. Obviously you guys have seen this already, so I didn't want to like show you guys a repeat of what I did on the 300 SRT8. So the rock arms came out, the push rods came out. So what I basically did is, obviously there's put a little bit of paper towel in the oil galley holes, just in case the keepers decide to fall into the bottom side of the head or the bottom side of the motor. So we put some, I don't know if you guys can see, right there. So you got right there and right there. So I just plugged them up just to be cautious. You know what I mean? You can never be safe than sorry. Obviously some paper towels in the spark plug holes, but we're gonna have to obviously take one of them out so we can put a spark plug in and feed air in. Otherwise air's just gonna escape and we're not gonna be able to do the job right. So we just put a little bit of paper towels. No big deal. We gotta be safe than sorry. We also did it on this side as well. So we also have on this side as well, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get everything ready for the valve stem removals. Before we do that, let me show you what we have in the garage. Alright, you guys, so we're in the garage. Obviously labeled everything, so I know where everything goes. For many of you who may or may not know, these push rods obviously have a little bit of a hole in the middle, and that's to allow for the oil to go through them. So what you want to do is, now that you have them out, you can blow some compressed air or some, like, let's say carb cleaner or brake clean right through it with a small straw, and see if fluid comes out. You want to make sure that the fluid goes through it, so this way you know for a fact there's no debris stuck in them and it's going to cause an issue with your motor. So you just want to make sure that these holes are clean of debris and stuff like that. So now that you have it out, you can go ahead and do so. I did it on the 300 SRT8, where I cleaned them out, just sprayed some fluid through it, and I was able to see that the fluid was obviously coming out on both sides, so I knew the push rods were not stuck of any debris. We got the intake side over there, exhaust side here. Just to make a note, the longer ones are on the bottom, so the exhaust has the longer push rods on the bottom, and the intake side has the shorter push rods on the top. Just make sure it's written right there, and this one as well. So everything is labeled, so we're gonna get everything ready so we could get the valve stems removed. What's going on, you guys? So we're outside. It's very late. I've already gone. It's a couple of days later for everybody who doesn't know or can't tell. It's obviously a couple of days later. We do have the push rods already installed, the rocker arms already installed, and the valve covers. The only thing that we do have left to install is the intake manifold, the throttle body, the coils, the catch can, and the air intake. But before all that, let's bring the camera inside and show you exactly what you guys need to know. What's going on, you guys? So we're back in the garage, and now that we have some heat, we can actually talk a little bit about the valve stem seals. As you guys can tell, we have a set of valve stem seals right behind me. I'm going to put my gloves on real quick because I don't want to get oil on my fingers. So real quick, let's put this on. So we have here the intake. Maybe I'll just turn this down a bit. So right here, you guys, we have the intake and the exhaust. The intake is orange in color. The exhaust seal is blue in color. These were obviously bad from what I understand and from what I saw. These were leaking pretty badly, and every time I would start up my Jeep, I would get a ton of white or blue smoke, whatever you want to categorize the smoke color. I was getting a puff of smoke coming out of the tailpipe, so that to me was an indication that the valve stem seals were leaking. So what I did is I went online, I ordered a set of Felpro valve stem seals, and what I did is I inputted some air into the cylinder using a cylinder leakage tester. So I have one right here. So basically what you want to do is you want to leave one of the spark plugs in the cylinder you're going to work on. Obviously there's two spark plugs per cylinder, so you want to put one spark plug into the cylinder and then leave the other one out, so you can put the hose back in and attach it to this. And the manual for this cylinder leak down tester says not to allow for more than 100 psi of pressure to or in other words, you don't want your compressor to have more than 100 psi of pressure. So I guess not to blow anything out, I guess. So you want to make sure that your compressor is close to about 100 psi, 105, 110 I think should be the most. So you just want to make sure you do not exceed 100 psi. That's what it says. And then that's pretty much it. You hook these lines up. You put one line here to your compressor, the other one you attach it to the cylinder. You turn the knob, and then you see the pressure go up, and you can use use a tool like this. So you want to invest in a quality tool. You don't want to just go and buy anything on Amazon. I know Amazon sells a tool that basically allows you to do the job that the more expensive tool can do for you, but the cheaper tool doesn't really get into those tight to reach areas. So right here we have a tool. I bought it from, this one came from Race Tools Direct, and this is a $150 tool. It allows you to compress the spring and basically get the keepers out, so you can get the spring out, and then you can remove obviously the valve stem seals. So this is how the tool looks. So it's specifically made to get into those hard to reach areas, because for those who haven't done it, or for those who have done it, you'll quickly realize that by the upper front portions of the motor, when you have the tool like this one, directly placed onto the spring, and you're ready to remove the keepers, you'll notice that this fits in just right, or fits just snug right in that location, and you're able to remove the keepers, compress the spring, and you're able to get everything out. If you use a $40 or $50 one from Amazon, they sell similar ones. They're basically for the 6.4 liter, for the Ram 2500 and stuff like that. You can do the upper ones, so you can do the meaning the intake side, which are the springs up top. You can remove those and get the valve stems out. But when you start doing the exhaust side and you start getting to areas where the tool can't go in, you'll quickly realize you need this tool. So I kind of learned that the hard way. So this tool here, it says hemitools.com. I believe this is where it comes from. or this is the website that distributes it, but I got it from Race Tools Direct. So you need this tool in order to do it. And basically what you want to do is just put air. You want to make sure you have air before you start compressing things. And just grab this real quick. So you want to put air in, anywhere from 50 to 80 pounds of air, even 90, even 100 pounds is perfect. So once you put air in, then you can use the tool. You compress it all the way down, and then you can use a strong magnet. Let me grab the magnet. You can use a strong magnet like this one, real guys, and you can just grab the keepers, pull them off, and then the spring comes out. Just make sure you don't lose everything. Just then grab a vice, well, not a vice grip, but a pair of channel locks, and you can basically just, grab it, and you can just wiggle it, and it'll come out. And that's very simple. It's not very hard. If you have air, you just want to make sure your compressor is strong enough to do it. You want to make sure you have enough in the compressor. You don't want anything to happen and you lose pressure, because you'll have a big problem. So I then used a 13/16, I guess you want to call it, spark plug socket tool, and I basically use this to seat it just like this. Hopefully you guys can see it just like that. And then I used a small enough hammer to just lightly tap the new valve stem seals onto the valve stem guides, I guess, or you want to call them, onto the valves, whatever you want to call it. And then so basically, so imagine my finger is the valve. You place it on top and you lightly tap it, and they'll seat the valve stem seals flush. So that's how you do it, guys. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because I know many of you who haven't done it or want to do it. This is a way to do it, or this is how I did it, and I got all of them on. So take your time. It's a little tedious. It's a little difficult at first, but if you stick to it, you can definitely get it done. So that's how I did it. Is there anything else I'm forgetting to tell you guys? So yeah, we got all of them installed. And real quick, yes, now that we're here, the rocker arms, for everybody who's pulling the rocker arms off, you want to make sure you torque each bolt down first evenly with, you want to use an impact gun or whatever. You want to do it with a ratchet or whatever you find comfortable. Make sure you evenly, tighten all the bolts down and make sure that they all sit properly. And you also want to make sure that the push rods are seating correctly onto the rock arms, because if the push rods are not sitting properly, you'll have a misfire. So you want to make sure that the push rods are sitting in the cup portion of the rock arms. You guys will understand if you take the valve covers off and you have experience with the rock arms for the SRT8 or the 6.1 or the 5.7 liter Hemis. You'll understand. You want to make sure the ball side of the push rod is sitting on the cup portion on the rocker arm. You guys, I'm sure you guys will understand what I'm talking about. Make sure they're sitting right, because you don't want to misfire. And then once everything is torqued down evenly by hand and everything is sitting flush, you want to torque them down. Those rocker arms get torqued down to about 15 foot-pounds. The rocker arm bolts, the top side and the bottom side, which means the intake rocker arms and the exhaust rocker arms get torqued down to 15 foot-pounds. And the valve covers get torqued down to 10 foot-pounds. So you don't want to go crazy and just, get an impact gun like this one, for example, and then zoom, zoom, and then, you start, torquing them down so much that you break the valve covers, or you snap a bolt or something like that. So just, you know what I mean? You just want to take your time and torque everything down nicely, and that should be it. So like I said, the valve stem seals were leaking. We changed them. You want to use a cylinder leak down tester or anything to compress or anything to get air in through the cylinder. You want to make sure you have one of these if you're going to do it by just connecting the line off of your compressor to this and just letting 100 psi pressure going straight into the cylinder, and you don't need this. The only reason I like using this is because I could see how much pressure is on the left gauge, and if anything's going bad on the right side, I could see or kind of tell where my air is going, or if it's leaking or about to fall and stuff like that. You guys get the point. So you want to make sure you have a leak down tester or some way to put air in your cylinder. You want to make sure you have one spark plug in there. You also want to you know, remove the old valve stems with a channel lock and just, you know, gently wiggle it back and forth till they come out. Small enough socket to just gently tap it in place using a small hammer, and then that's it. You know, you can use a magnet if you guys prefer to just remove the keepers and also help you guys to reseat the keepers. Also, another thing, you can use some assembly lube, like engine assembly lube, to lube up the keepers, and it'll help you guys to keep the keepers in position as you know, put everything back together. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I didn't show too much of me putting stuff back on the Jeep SRT8 because you guys pretty much have seen it, or if you haven't seen it, you will see it on the 300 SRT8, which was the whole ordeal with the head gasket. So I'm sure you guys have already seen it and have an idea of how to, you know, take the rocker arms out, take the push rods out, put the rocker arms back in, the push rods back in, and this whole 9 yards. So that's why I didn't show it. It's also very cold, and you know, I'm trying to get the truck finished. I could kind of use it again. I do have the 300 SRT, but I want to use both cars, so I'm trying to get it done. Right now in the garage it's 47 degrees because I do have the heat on, but it is very cold outside. If you know, just exhale and blow in, you know, blow air into the, you know, atmosphere, you'll see it's very cold. So you'll see your, basically her air, you'll see the I guess you want to call it air coming out of your mouth. It shows it as a white puffy cloud, so you know it's cold. So you know, I'm just trying to get the truck finished, and that's why I didn't show too much. Plus the camera is getting very cold, and I can feel it when I touch it. It doesn't want to record. So I had an issue, and that's why I didn't record much. That was the actual reason. So when I encountered an issue, I actually paused the camera to try to you know, get it done off camera. I got it situated with the valve stem seals, and basically now, a couple of days later, I've already have the rock arms installed. Obviously the push rods have been installed, the rock arms have been installed, valve covers are on. The only thing we need to put on is the throttle body, the intake manifold, the coils, the catch can, the air intake system, all that stuff. So it is a couple of days later. I did do some work a little bit early in the day. This is now later in the night that I'm talking to you guys, so I did go ahead and put on earlier in the day the push rods, the rocker arms, and the valve covers, make sure everything went on nicely. I did not record because obviously it was very cold, and I'm just trying to push myself to get everything done so I could, you know, use the truck again, because I'm afraid if it snows, the truck's going to get stuck over here and I won't be able to clean the driveway and stuff like that. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of reasons. So I do want to use the truck, and it's not a truck, SUV, you guys get the point. So I will record the rest of the stuff. It's pretty simple. I'm sure you guys will see it, or if you haven't seen it, go check out the video with the 300 SRT where I do the whole head gasket. You guys will see everything on it, so you guys will get the idea of what exactly I removed, and it's pretty much straightforward. It's not really too hard. I've done it before. It's a pretty simple and straightforward. So just wanted to bring this to your attention, guys, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna probably end for the night, call it a night, and I'm probably gonna pick up back up tomorrow because it is late and it is cold, and I'm gonna go inside, get some sleep, and we'll probably continue tomorrow, hopefully early in the morning or early in the afternoon once I come home from work, and we'll just go from there. So hopefully that helped you guys. All right, you guys, so one thing real quick. Basically, who's honking? Anyways, when you're doing the valve stem seals, you want to make sure, now that I remembered, you want to bring the cylinder you're working on, the piston, all the way to top the center. Just want to bring it all the way up to make sure that in case the valves do come unseated or unseat themselves, if the valves basically, in other words, move, they'll just drop enough to where you can actually pull it back up with a strong enough magnet. So you want to make sure that the piston's all the way to top the center, or just bring it all the way up. If you can't, or you could do it, I have here a boroscope, so this comes in handy. I bought it off Amazon, and I'm basically able to you know, see exactly with the camera if the piston's all the way up. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. You can just put it right through the spark plug, hole and just slowly rotate the crankshaft or the crankshaft bolt in the clockwise position and see how far up the screwdriver comes. And once the screwdriver comes all the way up and stops, in other words, it's at the highest point and it doesn't turn no more, and you see that the screwdriver is about to come down, back it up a little bit, like in other words, go counterclockwise and just bring it down to where it needs to be, and then you can go ahead and you can remove the valve stem seals. So I have a boroscope here, and that's how I'm able to see whether the piston's all the way up or down. And you want to make sure, for those who are going to do this, or for those who've already done it, is a good way to ensure that in case the valves do drop, they don't drop far enough to where you have an issue where you can't get the magnet to grab it and pull it back up. So you want to make sure that the piston's all the way up. You put in the air, fill the system up, and then compress the valve springs, and then remove everything. So that's a good way to ensure that nothing goes bad and you now stuck in a bad position. So just want to bring that in. So let's bring the camera in and show you guys. All right, you guys, so we're closed up right now. So here is the tool. It basically looks like this. Let's pull it out of the bag, and then you guys will see this is how the tool looks. So spring side, my mistake. So it's a spring side. So this tool is what you need in order to do the valve stem seals or replace the springs or whatnot and stuff like that. So it does come from Hemi Tools. I guess Hemi Tools distributes it, but I got it from Race Tools direct. So that's that. We also have the socket I use for the valve stem seals, which are over here. Let me leave that here real quick. We'll get to that in a sec. We have the cylinder leak down tester. Basically got this from Amazon. It's OTC. You have the hose here and the magnet right here. So you need all this stuff in order to do it. So I recommend you use a good quality cylinder leak down tester. And then as we move to the right side over here, you guys can tell that the valve stem seals look pretty, messed up. Yeah, they do look pretty bad. You see there's a lot of gunk on them. These are the exhaust side. The bottom side is the exhaust side. This is the intake, which is the top side. Exhaust over here, intake. So this is the front left, and this is the front right, or the front left and front right. It doesn't matter. Obviously these are not specific. The color is specific to the exhaust side, and then the other color is specific to the intake side. So basically use this one here, and I was able to basically put it right on top like that, and then I used a small hammer and I gently tapped it once, twice, maybe 3 or 4 times. I was able to get it to seat, and you'll be able to hear the sound change when the back side of the valve stem seal hits the back side or hits the wall of the valve guide or whatever, the valve wall. You'll hear the sound change, and you guys will know that the thing had seated correctly or seated fully. So you'll hear the sound change once it fully seats itself. The valve stem seal seats itself fully. You'll hear the sound change when you lightly give it a couple of taps with the hammer. So this is how it looks. I just want to bring it to your attention and also bring the camera in so you guys can see. So these are the bottom, these are the top, bottom, and top. And then we do have a trusty basically a camera here for doing basically the examination of the basically cylinders. So if we open it up, I'm gonna try to open it up with one hand. So let's turn this sucker. Let's see. Sorry guys, it's a little difficult with one hand, but there we go. So we got it open. So yes, we have a good quality camera here. It's basically a boroscope. Got this off Amazon. Definitely helps with seeing, inside of the spark plug holes and seeing how the pistons look. So this is a good tool to have. But basically, what you guys will need is all this. So you do need a good quality tool. Do not spend the money and get one from Amazon. It won't work. It only works, that tool that you will find on Amazon if you write, for example, valve stem tool. That tool you'll find on Amazon is good only if the head is off of the vehicle. If the head's still on the car, you'll need this one right here. Then you'll need a good magnet for the keepers. Obviously a cylinder leak down tester. Brand new valve stem seals, socket, maybe the camera if you guys are going to use the camera to look, and obviously you'll also need some good engine assembly lube to keep the keepers in position. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I wanted to bring the camera in and show you everything. What's going on, you guys? So it's the next day. It's early in the afternoon or a little bit later in the evening, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put on the we have the coil packs, the intake manifold, the air intake system, the drive belt. Valve cover is already on, so we just have to place everything on and then hopefully fire it up and we don't have any misfires or any issues whatsoever. Let's cross our fingers everything goes well. So we've got quite a bit of work to do, but hopefully we'll be finished by tonight and get it fired up. So let's get to work. guys, so we got the truck fired up. No leaks, no smoke, no check engine light, no misfires. So everything's running well. The valve stem seals went great. Pretty happy. Just crossing my fingers this doesn't break down in a couple of minutes or in a few weeks from now. So hopefully it goes well. But from what I can tell, from what I can hear, the motor sounds quiet. There's no puff of smoke coming out of the tailpipe and stuff like that. So I think the valve stem seals did it for us. So I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna let it idle and let it warm up to check to see if we have any misfires or any leaks or anything of that sort, and just go from there. So we're just gonna check everything over and make sure everything goes well. Alright you guys, so the truck is running fine. It's already up to operating temperature. I also can tell on the dashboard on the little instrument cluster, the oil temperature is at 155, 160. I have a 180 thermostat, so it's kind of close to each other. So I believe the car is fully warmed up. I'm going to let it idle for another 5 minutes. I did check to make sure we have no leaks. That have a little bit of smoke coming off of the driver's side and the passenger side exhaust manifold. That's because removing the valve covers, maybe some of the oil dripped out onto it when we initially removed them. So right now it's not smoking, we're good. We do need to do an oil change. I'm not going to show you underneath the Jeep because you've already seen me get underneath and drain the oil from underneath. So if I do include the oil change, you guys will see me adding the oil on top with the liquid moly additive, and that should pretty much be it because the truck is due for an oil change right now. I believe it just hit the 5,000 mile interval, or it's just above the 5,000 mile interval, so we're going to go ahead and change it. And that's it. So the truck is running fine. We do need to take it for a drive, or I'm going to take it for a drive to make sure everything is going well. I do have the scanner there. That should be it. I'm not going to take it for a ride tonight because it is getting late, and I have to move the other car, and I don't want to say what else do we have, but yeah, that's what we have to do. So pretty happy. I'm just going to let it idle for another 5 minutes. This is just a little update. We have no issues whatsoever, and I'm pretty happy. So that's pretty much it, you guys. So I'm gonna let it idle. That's it. What's going on, you guys? So it's the next day, or later in the evening, or later at night, and pretty much the truck is running absolutely amazing. We don't have any crazy noises. We don't have anything going on strange underneath the hood. We don't have any leaks. Everything has been tightened down. Everything has been put back together. We don't have any puffs of blue smoke coming out of the exhaust or out of the tailpipes, so that's a good thing. So all the valve stem seals have been replaced, and pretty much if you guys are experiencing any blue smoke coming out of the exhaust on startup only, most likely than not it's your valve stems and they need to be replaced. So the valve stem seals need to be replaced. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm pretty happy with what exactly happened, how it went down. And in the next video, you guys will see we're going to actually be doing the AC compressor, because the AC compressor wasn't working pretty much during the summer. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace that. So next following video, that's what you guys will see. But pretty much I'm pretty happy with how everything went. And enough of me talking, guys. You know the vibes. I'm out.